Hello, welcome to Inside the Summit League. Lots of good early season basketball coming up in the show, but we start with the final league tournament of the fall season. And it came down to Denver and Omaha in the Summit League Volleyball Championships. So Omaha on to the semifinals and a date with the second seed IUPUI. The Jaguars beat Omaha twice during the season. And IUPUI gets out and wins the first two sets here, 25-23 and 25-23. But Omaha turns it around in the third set, winning 25-20. Omaha hits it lights out in the fourth. They win that one 25-12. And the Mavericks complete the comeback, 15-9. Omaha in the fifth set. It is Omaha's first win ever against IUPUI. And the Mavs come from way down to do it.
To be behind to a team that we've lost to twice this year, and to just literally have the guts to play like we played and to come back and fight and to really put it on the court, I'm very, very pleased with what they did.
In the other semifinal, South Dakota and Denver. Denver, the regular season champs, and they come out firing in the first two sets, taking the first 25-13 and taking the second set 25-14. Kayla Principato with 14 kills in the match for Denver, and she hits at 500 for the match. But the Pios cool off in the third set. South Dakota takes over. Audrey Reed with 9 kills just in the third set alone. She had 18 in the match, and the Coyotes win the third 25-19. But Denver regroups in the fourth. Ruth Okoye with a couple of kills late in the set, and Denver gets by South Dakota thanks to the hot start in the first two sets and then the finish in the fourth.
The third set, I thought they started playing very well, and we let down a little bit. And had to go to the fourth, and the fourth was tight. I thought both teams played well, and we just had a little bit more at the end with Sarah Schmidt and Ruth Okoye and Kayla Principato really taking off at the end.
So Denver back in the tournament final for the third year in a row. Omaha in the final in its first year of postseason eligibility. And they split during the regular season, each team with a sweep at home. But this match goes well beyond 3 sets. Extra action in the first set. Denver up 24-22, but Omaha ties it at 25, and Omaha pulls out a 28-26 win in the first set. Close again in the second. Omaha gets that one as well, 25-23. A kill by Michaela Schimmer on the last point, and the Mavericks are a set away from the title. But the defending champions start to rally. Cassie Baird with 19 kills in the match for Denver. The Pioneers take the third set, 25-20. Omaha gets out to an early lead in set 4, but Denver pulls even at 15-15 and then scores the final 7 points of the set to tie the match and force a fifth set. Omaha has the lead 8-4 at the side change in the fifth set, but Denver scores 8 of their next 11 points on kills, 3 by Cassie Baird, 2 more by Sarah Schmid, and Denver comes from 2 sets down to win it in 5. It is just the second loss in the last 12 matches for Omaha, and the Mavericks finished the season with 19 wins. Ruth Okoye of Denver is named the tournament most valuable player. Denver stays unbeaten on their home floor this year. They're 18-0, and the Pioneers are the Summit League tournament champions for the second straight season. So Denver earns the automatic bid to the NCAA Tournament, and they will find out who and where they will play coming up this weekend. The tournament selection show is Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPNU. Up next, the Summit League Players of the Year in volleyball and the Denver men's soccer team putting the nation's longest unbeaten streak on the line in their match against SMU in the NCAA Tournament.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. In its 4th decade, the Summit League continues its ascent through excellence in the classroom and success in the field of play. In cities big and small, at public and private universities, more than 120,000 students across 9 institutions reach for the summit. From academic All-Americans to NCAA champions and nationally ranked teams, Summit League student athletes achieve the pinnacle of success. The Summit League, where tomorrow's leaders reach the summit today. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, the postseason awards in men's and women's soccer were pretty much a one-team sweep for the men at Denver and the women at North Dakota State, but that is not so in volleyball. However, these are voted on by the league's head coaches, and they say that Caitlin Hickey of IUPUI is the Summit League Player of the Year. Hickey is the first player in league history to accumulate over 1,500 kills and 1,500 digs, and she ends her career with 1,652 kills. That is good for fifth all-time in the Summit League. South Dakota has the Setter of the Year in Brittany Jessen, a sophomore for the Coyotes. Jessen led the league this year with 10.77 assists per set. She had 61 assists in a 5-set match against IPFW this year, and she dished out more than 50 assists in 7 other matches this season. So those two are joined by the Freshman of the Year, that is Nicole Reitnauer of IPFW. She was second on the team in kills and finishes in the top 6 in the league this year in kills and in kills per set. And Omaha has the Defensive Player of the Year and the Coach of the Year. Kimberly Bailey is a senior libero. She led the league in digs and digs per set this season during Summit League play. And Rose Shires has been the coach at Omaha for 26 seasons. She was the National Coach of the Year back in 1996 when the Mavericks won the Division II national title, and she is the Summit League Coach of the Year this year after leading the Mavs to a runner-up finish at the Summit League Championships. Well, Summit League men's soccer champion Denver played at home on Sunday in the second round of the NCAA Tournament, taking on SMU. Denver still unbeaten on the season going into this match, and all of the numbers except the final score in favor of the Pioneers in this one. Denver with a 14-9 advantage in shots. They had a 6-2 advantage in shots on goal. Denver had 13 corner kick opportunities, just 2 for SMU, and Denver had not allowed a goal in 7 straight matches going into this one, and they didn't give up a goal in regulation, but they didn't score one either. They go to overtime scoreless, and SMU gets the winner in the 94th minute on a throw-in, a deflection that is just out of reach for Dan Jackson, the Pioneer keeper. 1-0 Mustangs is the final. So Denver's 29-match home unbeaten streak is over. Pioneers finish the season 15-1-3, and SMU now will play Akron this Sunday in the National Sweet 16. Up next, women's basketball. Fort Wayne and Western Illinois taking care of business early on in the season. And what a week for Macy Miller at South Dakota State as the Jackrabbits go up against the SEC and the ACC in Brookings.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back now to women's basketball, and Summit League teams taking on some very good mid-major and some high-major teams here early in the season. IUPUI already has wins over Marquette and VCU, and Michael Rogers was really good in both of those games. 9 points and a career-high 14 rebounds, 2 block shots in the Jags win at Marquette, and then 19 points against Virginia Commonwealth. Rogers with a 3-point play with 7 seconds left to give IUPUI the win in that one. Meanwhile, Macy Miller at South Dakota State, a career-high 31 points in a win over Arkansas from the highly rated Southeast Conference, and then 23 for Miller in a loss to national runner-up Notre Dame on Saturday. And here are Miller and the Jacks in action in those 2 games, along with the rest of another very good week in women's hoops. Arkansas at South Dakota State on Wednesday. The Jackrabbits beat the Backs last year in Fayetteville. Preseason All-SEC forward Jessica Jackson with 24 points and 9 rebounds for Arkansas. But super sophomore Macy Miller, 31 points for South Dakota State. Clarissa Ober with 11 points and 10 rebounds. And SDSU beats Arkansas for the second straight season, 76-69. On Thursday, Kent State at Fort Wayne. 4 IPFW starters in double digits, led by Camilla Carter with 19, Courtney Ogle with 16 for Fort Wayne, and the Dons make 12 of 24 three-point shots in this game. Fort Wayne downs Kent State 86-68. Western Illinois at Iowa. The Hawkeyes in the top 25 in both the coaches and the AP polls, and Western Illinois takes them to overtime. Michelle Farrow with 14 points for the Leathernecks, 14 points and 6 rebounds off the bench for junior transfer Jasmine Patrick, and Western hangs with Iowa for 4 quarters. The Hawks outscore them 18-3 in overtime, and the final is 96-81. Another overtime game in Manhattan, Kansas. South Dakota taking on Kansas State. Caitlin Duffy for the Coyotes, a transfer from Colorado State with 21 points to lead USD. Nicole Seekamp in her first game of the year for South Dakota with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. And USD takes K-State to overtime, but the Wildcats win it 84-81. On Saturday, crosstown battle in Oklahoma between Oral Roberts and Tulsa. Bria Pitts, a sophomore from Tulsa, with 11 points for Oral Roberts. Kaylin Mayberry, another Tulsa kid, with 11 off the bench. ORU outscores Tulsa by 7 in the fourth quarter to win it by 6, 59-53. In Brookings, Notre Dame at South Dakota State. The Irish, the national runners-up in the last 2 years, and last year's National Freshman of the Year, Brianna Turner, with 20 points and 11 rebounds for Notre Dame. Carrie Young with 14 for the Jackrabbits. Macy Miller with 23 for South Dakota State. And SDSU leads after 1 quarter, but falls to the number 3 team in the country by 11, 75-64. Well, the Summit League, by the way, will be the host for the Division I Women's Sweet 16 Regional that will be played in Sioux Falls on March 25th and 27th. And we have a hot Cyber Monday deal for you on tickets for those 3 games. Go to ncaa.com/deals from now until December 1st. Use the promo code SAVE and you can get a 4-pack of all session tickets for that regional for $100. And the deal starts now and runs through next Tuesday. Well, men's basketball coming up next. Some new faces in Fort Wayne this year, including Racine Talla throwing it down for the Dons.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Now to men's basketball, and Oral Roberts has already played a scrimmage, 2 exhibition games, and 5 regular season games already. They are 4-1 in the games that count, and Obi Amegano is tearing it up right now for the Golden Eagles. He had 31 against South Carolina. That is ORU's only loss so far. He had 28 in a win over Tennessee Martin, 20 in a win over James Madison, 23 in a win over Florida International. And Amegano is shooting at 45% on threes right now, 84% at the free throw line. J.C. Fuller at Western Illinois is shooting at 77% on threes right now. He is 10 for 13. And the senior from Sioux City East High School in Iowa had 29 points and 7 rebounds in a win over Eastern Illinois. Here is Western Illinois in their win recently over Illinois Chicago, and the rest of the week in Summit League men's basketball. Western Illinois at home to take on Illinois Chicago, and the Western Illinois guard trio of Jabari Sandifer, J.C. Fuller, and Garrett Covington combines for 52 points, 21 rebounds, and 11 assists. Western allows just 25% shooting, and the Leathernecks are off to a 3-0 start to the season with a 27-point win over Illinois Chicago. Denver is 3-1 going into their game against Idaho State this Wednesday. Denver with a victory at home against Utah Valley last week. Marcus Bird with 14 for the Pioneers. Duke Douglas off the bench with 11 points in 10 minutes. And Denver downs the Wolverines 75-62. South Dakota at Kansas State on Friday night. Coyote Junior transfer Shy McClelland with 20 points to lead all scorers. And true freshman Dan Jeck with 13 points and 4 rebounds. USD with a 3-point lead at halftime, but the Wildcats get them by 24 in the second half and win at 93-72. And Fort Wayne at home against Southern Illinois Edwardsville on Saturday. Redshirt freshman John Conker with 9 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 assists for IPFW. Senior forward Joe Reed with 20 points, and the Dons win by 20. Fort Wayne is 4-1 on the season, going into a tournament at North Carolina Greensboro this weekend. Well, we go to Brookings next for the campus spotlight. What does it take to put together a Summit League championship season? We'll hear that from the women's soccer champions at South Dakota State.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. In its 4th decade, the Summit League continues its ascent through excellence in the classroom and success in the field of play. In cities big and small, at public and private universities, more than 120,000 students across 9 institutions reach for the summit. From academic All-Americans to NCAA champions and nationally ranked teams, Summit League student athletes achieve the pinnacle of success. The Summit League, where tomorrow's leaders reach the summit today. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. We go to Brookings this week for the campus spotlight and the makings of a Summit League championship season with the SDSU women's soccer team.
Lang Wiedemeyer and the Jackrabbit soccer team had a number of goals heading into the season, but it began with just qualifying for the Summit League tournament, a tournament the reigning 2014 Summit League champions would host in November, and they knew they had all the right pieces returning to do so.
I certainly think that we were relying a lot on the maturity of our team. We had our whole starting lineup back from last year from the conference champions, and I think that it was a little touch and go through part of the non-conference season, a little bit of inconsistency, but really I thought they came together at the right time leading into the conference tournament.
A senior class of Alyssa Brazel, Katie McNeary, Danny Patterson, Delaney Ratcliffe, and 2014 Offensive Player of the Year Diana Potterfield had all logged significant playing time in the Jackrabbits championship run a year ago.
I think for us seniors, we're really proud that we all stayed together, that all 9 of us are still here when most other classes, at least one person will leave or quit or something. So we're really proud to have all of us stay together, even though some people may not have the positions they wanted to. They were always there to support, and they never really gave up on the team. So I think that was really nice.
The Jacks won 3 of their first 5 games of the season in non-conference play, but then struggled at the Marquette Invitational. Wiedemeyer's squad responded with a pair of non-conference wins at home, and then tallied 3 wins to open Summit League play and get on track, a turning point in the season.
There were certain games throughout the season where we really played to our potential. As we got closer to the end, the IPFW game was a great one on senior day.
SDSU posted a 5-1-2 regular season finish, good enough to earn them the 3rd seed in the conference tournament. A key to the run was a 4-1-1 record on their home turf at Fishback Soccer Park.
It was a combination of things. One, I thought we played very well at home all season. I think, two, that we certainly had a lot of experience with Nikki Inskeep in goal, and then the 3 seniors and a junior in the back line, and then other players like Maddie and Tori had a lot of experience as underclassmen. And so, but it really was a team effort. I think that we just kind of rose to a different level when we were at home.
Fishback is not the place you want to go if you're an opposing school. The Jacks allowed just 3 goals at home all season. Goalkeeper Nicole Inskeep attributes all the success to the back line.
And they were solid from the get-go. I think just the camaraderie of our entire team even really just lent itself to the success of our season, but just the familyness of our back line even, it really paid off and I think helped us a lot in the success of our season.
It's a combination of things. I think having the same back line that we had before, I think that helps. But we also had so many people that could step in and still perform really well, even though they may not have played there last year. I think just practicing. Everyone at practice got different chances to play at defense. Brock would never let me back there, of course. But, just having that at training sessions and then being able to perform well in the games too. And just the communication and, the connection and chemistry between the players was really helpful.
But it was the offense that propelled the Jacks in the tournament, scoring 3 goals against Oral Roberts in the semifinals and 3 against North Dakota State in the championship. Both were teams the Jacks couldn't defeat in the regular season.
We felt like we really on the cusp of being the regular season champions. I mean, we missed a penalty kick and an open goal against North Dakota State in the first game, which would have given us a win. We were 10 minutes away from beating Oral Roberts down in Tulsa. And the Summit League is so tight that the margins between winning and losing are razor thin. And so we went from being very close to being the #1 seed to being the 3rd seed going into the tournament. But I think that played into our advantage, where we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulder going into those games.
In a year filled with strong senior play, it was only fitting to have all 3 goals come from the Jacks seniors in the Summit League Championship. Danny Patterson scored on a great cross to open the scoring, and Potterfeld sealed the win with a pair of goals herself.
Yeah, I think we started out, both teams are kind of feeling one another out. I thought they had a little bit better of the play. It was a fantastic goal, the pass from Maddie Ewell to Danny Patterson, and that really shifted the momentum in our favor. And I think from that point on, we played very well the rest of the game.
Wiedemeyer's squad drew Minnesota in the opening round of the Women's College Cup. The team was excited and confident about the draw, but it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect storm. We knew going in one of 2 things was going to happen. Either they were going to kind of continue their downturn from losing the last few games in the Big Ten season, or they were going to catch fire with new life. I mean, they had been ranked 11th in the country at one point in middle of October. So we knew it was going to be a tough game, and it's always a tough game against Minnesota, but we felt pretty confident going in. The first goal we gave up, a player slipped. The second goal is an own goal. And we just didn't really play to our potential, and I think they played one of the best games of the season. So a combination of just a few mishaps, not playing great, and them playing exceptionally well, and it just led to a forgettable night for us.
The game at Minnesota was forgettable, but the season was not. There's a lot to be excited about for Lang Wiedemeyer and the Jackrabbit soccer team.
We had not won back-to-back tournament championships ever in the history of our program. So to be able to do that, to send our seniors out in that way, and as many people have said, as tough as the loss to Minnesota was, there are a lot of teams that would have liked to have been in that position. And the fact that we had a chance to play in an NCAA tournament again was pretty special.
Thanks to Justin Hansen and our guys at South Dakota State. Thanks to all of our Summit League shooters. Happy Thanksgiving. We are back in 2 weeks on Inside the Summit League.